one. I will start this one off. Giants at Vikings, 3-point favorite. Like I said before, obviously I'm interested in this game. I'm probably a little bit more interested in the Jaguars game just because of Trevor Lawrence. I think the Vikings are going to win this game. I mean, when I look at the breakdown between the two, obviously they had a really good game, as Sterling said before, with the 61-yard field goal, the walk off that the Vikings had. But I think when you look at just the rosters up and down, and just not really statistics, but just the team's makeup, the Giants have only forced 6 interceptions the entire year. I think Kirk Cousins has to take advantage of that. I mean, he's been known as the quarterback to not really get over the hump, and he can't lead a team deep into the playoffs. I think that he needs to prove that he can do that this week. And against one of the worst, I'm not gonna say the worst secondary. I mean, we'll say worst defense in turning the ball over against opposing offenses. I mean, I think the only real chance that the Giants have is Saquon Barkley getting on the ground and being successful on the ground. I don't think that Daniel Jones is going to be able to throw the ball all over the place, especially not in an away environment. If I'm not mistaken, is this his first playoff game, or was he in the playoffs 2 years ago?
Barkley?
No,
Are you talking
Daniel
about?
Jones.
I
Daniel
think
Jones.
I'm pretty sure this is the Giants' first playoff.
Yeah,
Okay,
they, they were on that boat.
Yo, you good, bro?
Having earthquakes in Florida.
Earthquakes happened in California.
But yeah, I think as far as the Vikings, I think their home field advantage is gonna be rocking in Minneapolis, and I do think Kirk Cousins is gonna play really well against the Giants. Um, I mean, my pick is the Vikings go to the Super Bowl. That's very biased, obviously. I'd love to see it, but I do think we get out of the first round. I do think it's gonna be a close game. I think it's gonna be another 3 to 7 point win for the Vikings. And I think it's going to come down to, again, I know this is a recurring statement, but it's going to come down to running the ball. Because if Kirk Cousins can't throw the ball against the secondary, then Dalvin Cook and Alex Madison is going to have to take over the low for him. And it's just going to be them two against Saquon, and seeing who can kind of outrush the other team.
Yeah, and this is a great matchup for the Vikings because since week 12, Kirk Cousins has had he's had a 66 completion percentage against the blitz, and the Giants lead the league in blitz rate. So I think Justin Jefferson's going to cook this game. I think he's going to go crazy again like he did the last time they met up.
So who you picking, Alex?
Oh, Vikings for sure, by a touchdown at least.
Yeah, so I'm gonna say the same thing. My concern with this is, and it's not like Kirk Cousins is a young quarterback. Kirk Cousins is a vet now, and he has had problems in primetime games, as Steven kind of mentioned. And the playoffs, you get no more primetime than the playoffs. But offensively, I think the Vikings have an overload of weapons. And we know Jefferson, we know Cook, but Thielen, Hawkinson, they have an overload of weapons. To me, against a Giants team that has a depletion of weapons, especially at the wide receiver position, right? Daniel Jones is kind of ho-hum, probably a middle-of-the-road quarterback, which I'd probably say the same about Cousins, but they don't have a Justin Jefferson on that end. They don't have, and again, Saquon Barkley is nice, but they don't have Adam Thielen. Their tight end position isn't as good as Hawkinson. So I think a Giants team that I think played above what anybody predicted, or at least what I predicted them to do this year, especially with the lack of weapons at receiver. I like their front seven. I like the young enthusiasm. I think Dable has come in and really kind of instilled a winning attitude with this team. But I think the weapons are just going to be too much. I think, like Alex said, I think Justin Jefferson's going to get off. And I think when Justin Jefferson gets off and you start to game plan for that, then that two-headed monster in the backfield starts finding a lot less bodies in the box. That makes running a little bit easier. And next thing you know, the Vikings are one of those teams that is really weird. They either play really great or really bad.
Yeah.
And if they get that thing going, if they get that thing cooking, it could be it could be a blowout. But Kirk Cousins is as hot and cold as they come. And my only concern for this game is Kirk Cousins and prime time and the lights on him and knowing that he needs to be the guy to deliver. And he just hasn't delivered in those instances previous. But I'm still picking the Vikings. I'm actually picking the Vikings by 14.
Oh, wow. I'm also picking the Vikings here. I'm I'm hoping for a competitive game. Obviously, I don't have a dog in the fight. I think one thing that I don't think anybody really has noticed, but I think Adoree Jackson is coming back this game.
Hmm.
He hasn't really played. I'm not saying he can even go heads up with Jetta. I think Jefferson's gonna eat regardless. But I think that helps a lot. I think it helps a lot with the secondary. He's at this point he's a veteran. He's a really good corner. Obviously, he's not like a top of his position or anything like that. But I think that's just a little boost. I don't like obviously we got Staley doing his thing and playing his starters, but I also don't like not playing your guys at all. I feel like it's hard, especially when you're a wild card team going in there and like this is your first time in the playoffs. Like this is a young Giants team that lacks a lot of veteran leadership. I mean, the only other guy I can think of is like Sterling Shepard. He's out for the season. He's not even on the field. So I think if they would have played in Week 18, I think they would have a little better of a chance. But they're kind of going to be cold rolling into this wild card game. But I think Jefferson has a big game. I never really bought into the whole Kirk Cousins like not playing good in prime time. I'm not gonna say it's a coincidence either because like it's been multiple times for sure. I think he's gonna smash that. They're gonna win the game. I think it'll be a close game still. Daniel Jones, it's gonna be interesting to see him in the playoffs. I don't know. I don't have a whole lot of trust in him again, just because it's an experience thing. But yeah, I'm taking the Vikings. Dalvin Cook. If Dalvin Cook has a big game, if he rushed 400 yards, I think the Vikings for sure win this game.
Yeah.
And just to kind of piggyback off what my dad said, they can get really hot or really cold. And another thing that I think needs to be mentioned is, at least as a fan's perspective, I think the Vikings have probably a top 3 worst defense in the league. And I think that's going to matter because I mean, you saw the Eagles beat them by like 40. The Packers game was a blowout, I'm pretty sure. So there's been instances where they just don't show up on offense and defense. And when your defense is giving up 30 to 40 points a game, and you have a quarterback like Kirk Cousins who can't, he's not a Mahomes, he's not a Herbert or a Josh Allen who can put up points
Or Burrow.
really quick. Points really quick.
He's
then
right though.
I don't think it's a recipe for winning. So I think the defense has to step up. And I mean, you're out of all the offenses playing on wild card, the Giants are probably one of the worst ones, other than the Dolphins without Tua. But even then, you still have all the talent around. Skyler, I think his name is. But I think the Giants are one of the worst offenses coming into literally that's going to play this weekend. So if we can't stop them, even if we were to win and we win 37-34, I wouldn't feel confident because you gave 34 points to the New York Giants. And I don't think that's going into the divisional round. I wouldn't be satisfied with that. But
yeah, just kind of like the Seahawks 49ers game, when you have a quarterback that's like middle of the pack or lacking in some way, it's all about who has a better supporting cast. So
Yep.